The European Union has made education the centerpiece of its economic strategy for the next decade. During a meeting in Brussels, education ministers said the funding will follow once people get this simple idea.
Taking into account that 85% of all jobs by 2020 would require medium to high level of qualifications, many Europeans would need high-level qualifications to ensure they are employable.
But this pro-education rhetoric comes as many EU member states struggling with rising deficits are actually cutting back on public funds for education. Latvia cut its budget in half. Cuts are also planned in Hungary, Italy, Poland and Lithuania. A few wealthier states like Germany and France have increased their spending on education. The European Students' Union, which represents over 11 million students across Europe, says students are the first to pay the price in one form or another.
The loan conditions worsened, so grants were less, loan conditions worsened, and part-time jobs that most students had to finance their studies were the first one to be gone.
These are the results of a Europe-wide survey conducted by the Students' Union in the fall of last year. Meanwhile, policymakers called for more private funding for education.
In order to do that, we must create the necessary relationship between educational institutes and especially universities and other tertiary institutions and the world of business.
Student union leaders say this could compromise the independence of educational institutions.
We are not against private funding, but the private funding should not affect what the university missions are. So it should not decide what the university should do.
Each member state of the European Union uses a different ratio between public and private funding for its education sector. The United Kingdom, for instance, relies on a lot of private money, while Sweden puts the emphasis on public funding. According to EU policymakers, European education has generally improved. However, there are many challenges that still remain, such as the budgetary cuts on public spending. According to the European Students' Union, they are currently planning a Europe-wide campaign to tell policymakers that education should not be a luxury. NMO Press TV, Brussels.